Good morning, Judith.
Good morning, Sonya.
Welcome to the last Coach's Cup episode of 2021.
Shut the front door.
I am Sonya Green from Sonya Green Coaching.
And I'm Judith Fender. I am one of the amazing coaches with the No Stress Weight Loss Program.
And here we are, the end of our second year, well, about 18 months for us of podcasting.
That is unbelievable, Sonya. It just really, when I think about how many Sunday mornings we've spent together and late nights too, Wednesday night. Yeah.
Yep, we've done this at all different times, although Sunday morning seems to be our time. But this,
I've got to wrap into this.
Okay.
We set our intention. My intention was to work on public speaking, podcasting on the regular, and learning content.
Yeah.
This is how was the pathway, who I wanted to be. We've been pre-gaming, and here we are.
That is hilarious. That is where I remember you saying that some 18 months ago, talking about, yes, this is the way I'm going to work on my public speaking.
Yep. I knew because I knew I wanted to work for Corinne after experiencing my first round of anxiety with the interview.
Mm-hmm.
And that my work was to work on my public speaking to get better with my relationship with anxiety, my feelings. And hello, I am the master of my feelings.
You are the master of your feelings. I know. I give you full credit for that. I sit back in amazement and wish I could feel the way you feel.
No. I've got thoughts about that because let
me back up a little bit, because I don't know if I've said that today's podcast is on setting intentions. So we have been thinking about in our pre-gaming our intentions for the new year. But it's funny, we talked about the intention that we set at the beginning of 2021. We did not talk about just the intention we set when we started the podcast.
Right.
And that's really neat.
Yeah. Putting value out there, honing our skills on public speaking, becoming better coaches, developing rapport with the community at large. It's been an awesome experience.
I agree. I totally agree. So we are killing it with that intention.
Right. And, it's not like we just kept showing up and practicing. And it's who we've become.
Yes.
Right. We enjoyed the process. We're going to cover all this in our.
Yeah. We never even really thought we'd have more than those 30 initial listeners. Whoever those regulars were, we loved you, but we never really imagined that we'd get above that.
Full disclosure, I didn't want more listeners.
30 was just fine for you, wasn't it? Well, today, let's start with talking about, because I don't want anybody to have any to think that we're being hypocritical here, because a few weeks ago we did do a podcast about waiting for the perfect time and about not waiting to set New Year's resolutions. Mm-hmm. So let's talk for just a minute about what an intention is and why it's different than a New Year's resolution.
Okay.
What do you think?
Okay. I think an intention is, who we want to be and how we want to show up in our lives. And that's based on our value system. And that it's something that requires practice, and it requires reflection, and it requires, intentionality.
Yes, that's the root of what it is. Mm-hmm. And I like it so much better than resolutions, because, I guess the educator in me comes out. A resolution is kind of a pass fail, and most people fail.
Right. As a goal too.
It's a big overarching goal. Yes. And you either do it or you don't do it. And most people definitely don't do it.
Right. Right.
throughout consistently. An intention is more of a theme that runs through your decision-making process through the year. And so it's not, it guides your decision. It helps you set your priorities for the day, for the week, for the month, as you're setting those goals, it helps you make decisions about them. But it's not something that at the end of the year you're going to grade yourself on as a pass fail.
Right. Because the ideal, and this is my thoughts, of course, is going to be, it's always going to be having that growth mindset about what did you learn about yourself today and how can you do that 1% level up. Corinne talks so much about for weight loss, and it's true, and who we want to become, no matter what the goal is. How can I just do better tomorrow? And you have to, set the intention of who you want to be. You practice it every day. You evaluate for clarity. You set the intention again for the next day, and you practice and practice and practice.
Yeah.
And grow.
Yeah. And so my word for 2021, my theme for 2021, my intention was abundance. Because I saw myself often coming from a scarcity mindset. There was a lot of fear in my decision making. There was a lot of just scarcity kinds of thought.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
And
exactly. And so, something over the last year that I have set as an intention is abundance. And I will, when I'm making a decision about something, I will really question myself. Is this coming from a scarcity mindset, or is this coming from an abundant mindset?
That's so good.
And I have really seen that affect my concept of time. Because my thought was always, there's never enough time. I've got so many things to do. I'm never going to get it done. And, I say it in that fast voice because that's how it spins through your head.
Oh yeah.
It shoots through at 3 times the normal speed. And my focus on abundance has definitely slowed that down and allowed me to see that there is time. I get to make time.
How do you feel when you think you're busy?
Yeah, that doesn't help.
How do you feel when you experience the abundance and slow down?
Exactly. There's a calm, and you know what? You make it true, right?
100%, y'all.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes, we are the results of our thoughts, 100%. And so when my thought is, I have plenty of time, this is going to be perfect. The amount of time I have is going to be perfect. It is.
Yeah. When I think, and mine is, I'm on top of things. I will find myself, oh my gosh, I'm so behind. And I will catch the thought and I'm like, oh, wait a minute. No, it's not true. That's a story I'm telling myself. I'm on top of things because I really am.
Yes.
Ugh.
Yes. So that's what an intention is. It's just a reminder of where we're headed, what our growth path is, what we're working on. It's not a demand for perfection, like a resolution often, I'm going to lose 50 pounds. And so you start demanding this perfect idea of what that is. So I want to make sure that we have everybody on the right page as far as the intention versus a resolution. We're really not contradicting ourselves at all.
Yeah, I appreciate your nuance on that.
But let's talk about some things, because this is where I guess the rubber meets the road here. What can keep us from keeping up with that? What can keep us from our intentions? Because it can be just like a resolution in that we set it and then something gets in the way and we kind of let it go.
Right.
So
okay. So this is where I was telling Sonya, this book, John Maxwell, The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth, chapter 1, the law of intentionality. He talks about these very things and he calls them growth traps, right? Because if if intention requires us showing up and practicing and learning to grow, then what is going to keep you from growing are going to be these things he calls traps, like assuming that you will automatically get there. That's like thinking you're going to lose weight just because you set a goal.
Yeah.
Right. He
Yeah.
calls that the assumption gap. And like the knowledge gap, like you don't know how to do it. And then there's the timing gap. It's not the right time. Or thinking the perfection gap. I have to find the best way before I start. And afraid of making mistakes, right? I mean, we could even roll that in. Like all of these are simply what? Thoughts.
Yeah, thoughts that trap us.
Uh-huh.
I love that knowledge gap. I mean, that's a big one, right? Oh, I don't know enough to do this yet. I don't know enough to apply for that promotion. I don't know enough to start the new business. I don't know enough. My students are like this all the time. And, they come into a class and they're like, well, I don't know how to do this. And no, you don't. That's why you're here.
To grow.
And that's why you may not deliver a work the first day of class because you don't know yet, but you're here to learn. You can't automatically just we can kid ourselves into believing we should have all the keys to unlock all the doors. And so many times that's what kills our potential for growth.
Right. And if there's anything that I feel like I might repeat this on the daily on the podcasting, but y'all having that learner's mindset, gifting yourself with what can I learn in these moments where you might be judging yourself, thinking you can't do it. It's got to be right. The timing, what am I learning about myself that I can, in the next time, how can I do this with just a little differently, a little better?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's where the intention comes in. You're not grading yourself.
Right.
You're simply there to learn and accept that there is no right or wrong time.
Right.
There's now.
Right. And so there was a quote in the book by Bruce Springsteen, right? And it says, a time comes when we need to stop waiting for the man you want to become and start being the man you want to be. It's, thinking of it as a living process, a state of being intentional.
Yeah.
And when I hear that, when I think about that, we were talking about, an intentional model. And I think about it really is about owning those moments, how it fractions down to processes in our day where we are constantly, at least I am, working on managing my thoughts in the moments because of the feelings that I create, but it's being very intentional how I speak to myself, how I'm showing up for myself, how I'm present for my clients, how I interact in my relationship with myself and relationship with others. It's being very intentional in the moment. And I'm thinking about if you had the unintentional, the intentional model, and we talk about those moments in between and, all that, and that creating a new belief, it's all the same. And being intentional is in the moments.
Yeah. Yeah. We've talked about this before with Viktor Frankl, that moment between the stimulus and the response. And for me, that is so helpful because so many times we think we need to just boom, we need to act.
Right.
But what if we take just a minute to remember what that intention is?
Right. And that in of itself is the practice. And here we are years into this, where we're learning to get off autopilot, master of our thinking and our feeling and our doing, and owning the pause with intention, with recognition and awareness. And I was thinking about your Viktor Frankl quote there, and I came across a definition. I hope it's okay that I pop it in here.
Absolutely.
While it's on my mind. When we find ourselves, and I'll find like with many of my weight loss clients and even myself, when we focus on, and when we're working harder for success,
Mhm.
then the success becomes elusive, right? When we hold on so fucking tight, right? In those moments. So rather than we're not focusing on the process, and it can kick into anxiety because our thoughts have left the moment.
Yes.
And we're thinking into the future, what this is going to mean. I'm not going to get a promotion. I'm not going to lose weight if I eat this one chocolate ball,
Yeah.
this bag of popcorn. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so,
Everybody, I'm never going to get married. I'm never going to have the friends I want to have. I'm never going to.
right.
We can go to all the places.
Drama we create in the again, anxiety living in the future. So Victor has a phrase. It's called the paradoxical intention. And that's where our good intentions actually become the cause of our failure.
Yeah. That paralysis.
Right. Right.
And that's why the pause is so important.
And
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, and knowing your values.
Yes.
Right. In the moment, knowing what you value, because if you don't value, anxiety, or if you don't value the meaning of why you are going through the process, if it's to lose weight, if you don't value good health, if you truly don't believe it in your core, then your ability to manage those moments, it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, you have to come at it from a different way of thinking. And at this point, I would urge people to go back and listen. We did an episode talking about, I think it's called Defining Your Values, but it's episode 52, Finding Your Values. Yeah. And it's really helpful if you haven't taken the time to go through and really determine what your values are, because, when we talked about that, I found out some really valuable information about the way I was approaching weight loss.
Right.
So I would encourage people to go back and listen to that. I didn't look up what episode The Power of the Pause is, but that's also another good episode in thinking about intentions. And I have a feeling that we'll be doing an entire podcast on intentionality sometime in the near future. So, but I think all of those work together so well. And yeah, it's so easy to think we know, but we don't really examine that because we're looking toward that future. What is that thing I want, and waiting for it to happen. And we're coming at this in our I guess I started in my late 40s and am 50 now, and you're just a year or two, a couple of years older than me. But what I think it's such a gift for women who are in their 30s to come at this, because I know it took everything to get me to this point. So I don't regret the journey at all. That's not who I am. I don't spend time looking back and regret, but I do think, where could I be if I had known this 20 years ago?
Yeah, not helpful.
No, it's not. And I really don't spend time in regret, but I think we do as a culture, we spend a lot of time waiting to be our perfect selves, not understanding that we hold the key in our hands.
Well, John Maxwell, again, it's glaring right at me. The law of diminishing intent says the longer you wait to do something you should do now, the greater the odds are you will never actually do it.
Yeah.
So if y'all are hearing our words, consider this. When you hear our words, what can you do? And I'm not jumping into a call to action by any.
Yeah, but we talked about that in Waiting for the Perfect Time. We say these things, but sometimes you get to 50 and you think, oh, I'm too old to worry about that. I wanted to be an executive, but my time's gone. I'm 50 years old. Guess what? You can start acting on that today. You can start setting your intentions today, learning about your values, making your dreams happen today.
Today.
Yeah. All right. So
Yeah.
I guess that
Yes.
kind of leads us into how do we, those are some of the traps, but how do we actually set an intention?
We didn't pregame on this, but I'm going with the intention of who I want to be and my future self.
Well, wait just a minute though. How do our listeners set an intention specifically? We talked about you got to know your values, but where do you? Well, maybe I wasn't.
Cut and paste this.
Yeah. I guess I'll have to. But let's go through some of the steps once they know what their values are. So that leads us, we wanted to share our own intentions that we are setting for 2022 as kind of an example of intentions that you can set. And like I said, we encourage you to examine your values, because you can't just take somebody's intention and run with it. You can't just take a meme that somebody throws up on Instagram and decide that's your intention and you're going to run with it. You really do need to examine, what are my values? What's important to me? So it does, I encourage you to take some time to examine your values.
100%, like knowing your values and will help this be an easier process for you.
Yes, it will cut out several of those traps that you mentioned.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Not that there is no right or wrong way to do this. We're just simply offering some direction on
things that have helped us.
Things that have correct. Some wisdom. We've gone ahead and forged a path and sharing some wisdom. So that leads me to, what in this moment where my intention is, I have awareness of in the moments of losing the now, because I'm holding on to outcomes that are stories in my head. I got some stories, y'all. And so for me, my intention is, so much of my journey has been to honor my body. And now I'm setting the intention of honoring my thoughts, myself, and being intentional with the language I catch myself using and how I talk to myself in the moments, being intentional with processing my emotion, and not, this is going to be the work of my of my life is to welcome my emotions and not judge them or think that they are wrong or wish them away, as in particular anxiety. And I was coaching a client just yesterday on anxiety, and so much, because in those moments, when you feel like you want to jump out of your skin because you are in your nervous system is shot. I can say that because I've been there, which is where she was. And the practice of me owning the moments has allowed me to gain control of my anxiety. And so the next level up for me is, because I have so much awareness of how my cognitive ability is impaired by the emotion in the moment, is going to be, am I over talking here?
No, go with
breaking this down into, with this awareness, my level up is gifting myself with, if it's with something on the back end of a computer process, when I feel frustration, I will take a 10-minute walk away, because I know in those moments, I don't get shit done and I just swirl around and get myself into more drama. But I have learned through the practice of walking away one time with a problem on a technical end. When I came back, it was like the answer was right there. And I knew it was, but I couldn't see it in the moments. I was like, when I talk about cognitively impaired, I don't know if it's confusion, overwhelm, what that is in that moment. We'll work on that later. But I do know when I cannot register. So my intention,
Yeah.
letting go of outcomes, processing in the moment, and allowing more self-acceptance from where I'm at.
And the thing I love that you said that you don't know what that is that causes that cognitive impairment, but you'll figure that out later. That is a perfect example of knowing that that would be a trap, to think that you had to know all the things that
Well,
you
it's all
had
my
to
thoughts.
understand. I
It's all my
know.
thoughts of self-judgment in the moment. Like, oh, you're so stupid. Why can't you figure this out? Well, so-and-so figured it out. Why aren't you?
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
that bullshit. Oh yeah, I do. I was lying to myself in that moment. I think for just trying to have awareness that I had a couple of minutes of free form talking going there.
And you don't have to know those things. That's not part of the process that leads you to being more intentional. Yeah. It's there to trip us up, to trap us. So I can let go of knowing everything about what's happening in that moment. I can just know that walking away, giving myself an actual space, a pause, is where I will find the answer and where I will, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Oh, it took me a minute there because I was in my, but it is, and we hear it all day long as coaches. We coach other people on it,
Mhm. Yeah,
and
and we can point it out to them, just boom,
oh,
boom,
I know
boom.
that's what I was in here going. But it's with my gift of awareness. I'm gifting myself acceptance of my human condition and my human brain, and my knowing that it serves me, and that I can speak in a language that is honoring to my brain. Because if I'm not speaking in an honorable way, I am not serving myself.
I love that. That is so true. And, we all have so much value and so much worth in who we are. Just because we are beings on this planet, we are worthy, we are valuable. And yeah, I love that.
And you have always been my number one fan on this and helping me see this. And I just want to point out, because, one, thank you. And two, it is about being success driven sometimes. I do. I like challenges. I
Yeah.
like, and hey, by the way, I got a Black Friday sale. I bought a ticket to jump out of an airplane for
Oh, no.
2022. I did. I found a friend.
I was
I got-
hoping you were going to tell me you bought a $10 dress. That's what
No.
I hoped.
No, I found two friends who will jump out of an airplane with me.
Well, I am very happy for you. Only slightly worried. I am sure it will be fine.
I set my intention to find a friend, and I found two.
Look at there. Well done. I mean, it is easy to see the value in other people. It's turning that on ourselves and seeing that same value that resides within us that is so worthy of our intention.
Yeah, that story that we think drove us.
Yes.
Get the success.
Yes.
The beat downs, da 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 da. It would have all. It's all
does not come from a beat down.
No, it's gonna be there. It's gonna be even better with better language.
Yes, absolutely. I love that. My sometimes I feel like we're the yin and the yang of each other. But my intention is actually to let go of control and open myself up to more creativity. I am someone who, my story, hear me say this is my story. Instead of my definition. But my story is that I am a very logical person. I live by logic. I make decisions as a leader logically. In fact, my dean said in a meeting the other day, he was taking a minute to say some very kind things about me, knowing that I'll be leaving at the end of next semester. And he said, she has very thick skin. She makes decisions and never takes anything personally. Well,
Y'all can't see my eyebrows are up to my hairline. I'm like, what?
Is that true? Well, that's the persona that I present, right? As a female leader in a place where there are not a lot of female leaders, that's the persona that I present. My goal is to actually, especially as I'm retiring and opening up, spending more time focusing on coaching, opening up to creativity, opening myself up to more of the opportunities, resisting logic, taking that moment, that space, that pause to think, instead of what's the logical decision, what's the creative decision here? How do I open myself up to an experience that I wouldn't normally open myself up to? And where will that lead me?
And that's going to be again, it's owning that moment.
Yes.
And knowing that you have the option when it's catching the moment, that in of itself, and then seeing the opportunity and being willing to let go of control. Right. We
I'm not jumping out of an airplane. I will tell you that. That's 1 ounce of control I will maintain. But, that's how it feels to me. Like it feels a little bit like jumping out of an airplane.
Oh, no kidding.
It does. It does. Because logic comes easy for me. We talked about this when we were pre-gaming, how, I am very decisive. I typically don't spend a lot of time spinning unless I just have a lot of things coming at me. I think a lot of things have built up and are coming at me at once. That's not who I am. And this feels like I'm pulling the safety net out from under me.
Got your parachute on. You may be jumping out of. I get it now. I see. Yeah, you are jumping out of a plane.
I am. This is my intention for the new year, and where that leads back to my value, it leads back to one of my main values is integrity with myself, and that control is obviously a persona or a mask.
It's an illusion.
Yes, it is. And I am so good. I have had people tell me that. I was made a manager for a Fortune 500 company when I was 24 years old. I started teaching college when I was 21 years old. I am good at it. Let me tell you, nobody is better.
Wow. That is so, and I have to tell, like, here we go. You're getting the full trailer here. Sonya's like, but I get all up in no wonder, like podcasting with you is I have thoughts like she's so organized. She's so structured.
It's an illusion.
And I'm holding on over here, It's not, well, I mean, for the way y'all don't know how we podcast, but we each do our own independent research and we show up a few minutes before and we're like, okay, here's what I got. And knowing that we're just putting value out there and that we're getting to talk about this and that we will be better coaches, but I'm just appreciating, like I'm having my like talking kind to myself moment here. No wonder, Judith, she is amazing.
No, I am a master of illusion.
She's been teaching since she was
21. But here's the takeaway, folks. We all have our thoughts.
Oh yeah.
We all have thoughts that in order to manage our minds, we need to grab them. We need to know them. We need to understand how they work within our values. And then we practice. I am not, my intention I don't have a resolution that sometime in the year I'm going to jump out of an airplane or I'm going to, I don't have a resolution like that. But I do have an intention to daily look for ways that I can let go of control and allow for the creativity, the opportunity, to let go a little bit of feeling like I have to have that persona.
Mm-hmm. I like it.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking of for you, and again, as we make this so easy and knowing like, it's just that onion, the peeling
Mhm.
back, even knowing
Absolutely.
what you desire, it's still going to be, how forced, how hard, how unforced, that delicate balance in those moments. Because if we do things, if we try to reach our intentions from a place that's not, if we force or push, we're not willing to open up and let it in, then we're in that, back in that paradoxical situation of Viktor
Yeah.
Frankl.
Yeah.
It's just all of this just really, it's I keep talking in circles, but it all comes down to just the moments.
Yeah. Yes. Staying focused in those moments.
Yes.
It's
And
not a pass fail, folks.
no,
Life is not a pass fail.
it's, you get to practice today who you want to be tomorrow.
Yes.
It's a practice, living with intentionally and living with focus and intent, and encourage. I just want to encourage everyone. The word encouragement popped into my vocabulary. So, and seeking clarity and reflection, and because life will pass you by.
Yes.
If you are not living with intention, then you are living unintentionally, and you are not seeking goals. You are not growing. I mean, the opposite of that is that Carol Dweck, what is it? She has the growth mindset.
Yes. Uh-huh.
And so the opposite of the growth mindset is the, what do we call it? The stuck mindset, the not growth.
Yeah. If you had the fixed mindset.
There we go. Right. And what I loved, I remember hearing that from Corinne a few years back. And I thought, oh, I'm the growth mindset. I decided right then, I'm the growth. I am not going to be the fixed mindset.
Yeah. And that's what it takes. You make a decision.
Yeah.
You set an intention and you start practicing.
And you start practicing.
It's not going to hit you upside the head, folks. It's not going to fly out of nowhere and suddenly you're going to do this thing.
Right.
You have to practice.
You can just start peeling that onion. Now, when I'm thinking an onion, and that's the next layer. It's the next layer. It's the next layer.
And guess what? There may be some tears.
Yeah, there. Although if you watch enough TikToks, you can figure out a workaround for that. Have you seen the one where they take the glass lid from your pot, right? Your cooking pot, and take the glass lid, and you have a hoodie, and you put the pot inside the hoodie and slice the onion to see, right? Because then you.
Well, I do think wearing my glasses keeps me from tearing up when I cut onions. So I'll just do that.
The pre-sliced onions from the Publix, that's been helpful too. Right.
Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, you figure a workaround, right?
Workaround.
All right, folks. We would love to hear some of your intentions for the new year. We would also love to work with you in the new year on your intentions. It is very useful to have a coach to help you figure out what you need to be practicing, what you need to be working toward. And that's what we help women do every day. It's really what drives us. I am so excited about the opportunity to take on more clients, to see this as a year of growth, not just for me, not just for you, but for all of those women out there who've decided enough. I'm ready to grow this year.
And I want to follow up with that. And as we, the common goals, right, of losing weight, and reminding that I am a weight loss coach. And that is, if you have the intention of losing weight, that you can find me with an OBS program. And I would love nothing more than to work with you in reaching your weight loss goals and the obstacles, the gaps that get in your way, and help you peel your onion and achieve to create an intentional living towards your weight loss goal.
Yeah. And you can find me at sonyagreencoaching.com, or I'll remember it today on Instagram at Sonya, SONYA _green coaching.
And you can find me with the No BS weight loss program, Corinne Crabtree, or you can follow me on the Instagram at Just Judy, JUSTJUDIE at bellsouth. Oh, hold on. That's my email.
Yeah, that's your email.
Whoops. Just Judy, JUDIE, Instagram. Just Judy.
Yeah.
That's it. Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
JUSTJUDIE.
Yeah. Please no emails.
I'll cut that out.
Okay.
All right. We will see you next week in the new year. And we really do have the best intentions with working with you as well as each other.
Right. I was thinking of the intention of this podcast. I'm always about learning and having fun. The bottom line, and and having good language about myself.
Yes. So here we come, 2022. Get ready.
Let's do it.
I'll see you next week.
14,000 feet. Here I come.